Welcome to Great Futures Augusta Podcast, powered by Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Augusta and Get Up Productions. Our podcasts are hosted by the Youth of the Year, present and past, asking the tough questions with our local and national leaders on how to create greater futures. Great Futures Augusta Podcast starts now.
Hey, my name is Antoniyah Rowland. I am Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Augusta 2023 Youth of the Year. Today, I will be interviewing the CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Augusta, Mrs. Kim Evans.
Hi, Antoniyah.
Hello, Miss Kim.
I'm so happy to be here with you this afternoon.
I'm happy to be with you as well. Are you ready for these questions?
I am.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm not.
Okay, let's get started. As a 16-year-old, what advice do you have for me, or what should I be doing to have a great impact in the future of our community?
At 16 years old, wow, like when I think back, at myself at 16 and trying to figure out what I really wanted my life to be like, I would say that I think you should use your voice. For one, just make sure you're always using your voice and staying true to who you are as a person. Understand and know your core and where you find your center. And I think if you do that, you will find that guidance that you need to lead in your community. So a part of that is being active in school. In the civic process at school, make sure you're active in your club, and then make sure you learn and understand, I think, the governance structure and process in your community and in the city that you live in and the state that you live in. Make sure you understand that and pay attention in those social studies classes so you can understand the best way for you to make an impact once you are old enough to vote and really lean into some of those community issues that are really important to you.
Thank you so much for that. On to the next question. If you can go back in time, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self to steer your course you have currently taken in life?
Again, I think when I think about myself at 16, of course, I had a plan for my life, and I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I really wanted to stick to a particular plan. But the advice I would probably give my 16-year-old self today would be to just enjoy the ride. My path has been very unplanned and probably guided mainly by, again, my core. And that's my faith, my family, and friends. And I've had an incredible amount of favor in my life too, so leaning on my faith, that just guides every decision that I make and every interaction that I make, every conversation with another person, thinking about how I can help and how I can show up stronger as a person, as a leader, as somebody who, friends and family can really depend on.
Yes, ma'am.
So those things have guided me, and I could have never, I think, planned to end up where I am today. I went to college to be an accountant. Do I use that? Yes, I do every single day in my role. However, being a nonprofit CEO was just not in the plan. I didn't even know it was an option, actually, when I was a kid. Yes. All I knew was that I wanted to make a big impact on the world, really, but certainly on my family. And along the way, I've learned that I really have to have fun.
Yes.
So I want to have fun with the people I'm working with, the people, who I spend my time with. So I think those things have guided me. And when I look back, I think I would tell 16-year-old Kim to just enjoy this ride.
Okay.
Because what God has in store, you have just no idea.
Yes. Next question. What is the greatest thing you've learned while being the CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Augusta?
I think one of the greatest things I've learned is that, collectively, as a community, when people work together, we can do so many great things.
Yes.
You know, I look at all that we've done with Boys and Girls Club and the work that, through partnerships, strategic partnerships, that we've been able to just accomplish a lot. And when we all work together, we can just do great things.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned as CEO of Boys and Girls Club and working with so many other community groups.
Yes, that was a great answer. What do you feel is the greatest impact the Boys and Girls Club has made on our community?
Our kids. When I think about all the lives that we have impacted and just changing the trajectory of a child's life, when what was in front of them was what they saw every day, in their communities and, possibly in their families. And we're able to give them a different pathway. I think that is probably the absolute greatest impact that we could make. I mean, we impact thousands of kids a year. And I've been with Boys and Girls Club now for 15 years. So, when I look at that, it's probably tens of thousands of kids. And that's incredible. When you can really pour into, I think, the lives of kids. It has always bothered me knowing that some kids are born into, situations that they just have, all kids are born into situations that they have no control over. But when that's a negative environment or like just not the most positive environment, that is, nurturing and loving and even, just having the right resources to care for each other because, poverty is a really big issue in our community. And I think when you can change the life of a child, you have the opportunity to stop that cycle of poverty in a family. And that's a major impact for our community in a lot of different ways, especially when you think about the economics of what that looks like long term. So I think that's probably the greatest impact is just what we have been able to do with so many kids.
Thank you for making a huge impact on our community. And we're down to our last question. So I know you're very active on multiple boards and leadership groups. You're currently working on your master's degree, all while being a mom. How do you balance work life with that?
That's an interesting question because I don't think there's such thing as balance when it comes to that. Honestly, what I have learned is that you can't be everything to everybody all at the same time.
Yes.
So when you are home, you try to be just 100% present and and lean in as a mom and as a wife and as a friend, at home. But then when you're at work, you give 110% to work.
Yes.
And you have to lean into those relationships and and the role that you have there. So I don't know if balance is fair because I just don't think that that's achievable. It's like this thing that's out there that we're all trying to achieve, and it's just not possible. I think if you just give your all wherever you are and just try to be present in every moment, every interaction, then those moments are more meaningful to the people who you're, communicating with and you're spending time with. And I think that's just the best you can do. If you just be intentional about that.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Thanks so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching this podcast. This will be on air soon. Make sure you tune into the other videos, and thank you again.
Thank you, Antoniyah.
You have been listening to Great Futures Augusta Podcast, powered by Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Augusta and Get Up Productions. Voiceover by Shannon Holly Voiceovers. Learn more about our podcast and get involved at bgcgreateraugusta.org. Thank you for tuning in.